Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, June 2nd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick, before I get to the watch list, I first want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering very soon. So if you're liking what you see and you want to learn more about this tool, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box to sign up, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you like what you see, then certainly get signed up for this free class. A couple of clarification points. First off, this price you see over here is changing around and that candlestick is still moving. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. I like to do these videos when the market's still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement, but the market is also close enough to being done for the day where everything I talk about will still be relevant for Thursday. And then next, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. So for your beginners out there, that means that each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of action. So stock number one here, MULN, very, very impressive overall chart, but there is some perspective that goes into this. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought up around there and you're buying because you wanted to, buy and sell within 10 minutes, well then yes, from that perspective, things are looking pretty rough because this has been a big pullback. However, if you care about the big picture of things, even with a pullback, the overall chart is fine. And the easiest way to illustrate this, and I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but like I said, for illustration purposes, let's say the price comes down here to $1.35 and then bounces around and then heads back up. Emphasis here on the big picture. From the big picture perspective, what would you have? Well, you'd have a set of lows there. You'd have lows there. You'd have lows down there. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Well, from the big picture, you'd still clearly have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. Again, I realize that if you're a day trader and you bought right there, you don't care about these stair steps. But that's why I'm trying to really qualify things as making a distinction between, more of a just quick day trade or some sort of more bigger picture type situation. So $1.35, important level of support for those reasons. And then in terms of levels of resistance, key level to watch that I'm very curious about moving forward now is this trend line right here. So up around the $1.50 mark, see if the price can push up through there. But all in all, any way you look at it, nice movement today, nice overall trend. So let's see if the price can continue to build upon it moving forward. Next one, TNXP, and this one is certainly looking ugly. There's no doubt about that. I mean, true story to think that there are some poor souls that were buying up around here and then to see it just go down and down and down. So no doubt it is ugly, but for you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity in the ugly, assuming you're willing to manage risk and use stop losses and, all those very, very critical things for us as traders. And that's, the reason for that is, and obviously no guarantees, or maybe not obviously, but I'm here to tell you there are no guarantees. But is it rational? Is it valid to think that the price could come down here around this 270-ish area where you have these two moving averages, the 200 period moving average and the 50 period moving average are converging and potentially bounce from that area? Yes, that is a more than valid and rational thought process to have. Again, no guarantees. That's why risk management matters. But nobody could accuse you of thinking that this region down around here is some potential area of support that could produce a bounce. So if you're somebody that likes to play these situations where there's an initial big surge of strength and then things start to pull back and get a bit ugly, get a little bit sketchy, then this would be a situation where from a risk-reward standpoint could turn out to work very well. Next one, NIO, and we're going back to that first stock, MULN, in terms of principle, meaning if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought up around there and you wanted to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then yes, from that perspective, the chart looks pretty bad. However, if you care about the big picture of things, I understand big pullback, but let's draw on some stair steps once again. So we have some lows there, we have lows there, we have lows there, we have lows there. You get the idea. If we envision these as stair steps, well, again, to emphasize big picture, everything is still perfectly fine. So NIO, I know, is a very popular stock. And I know there's a lot of people wondering, I don't know, is this bad or good? And well, I don't know. That totally depends on what your perspective was going in. But yes, even with the pullback, assuming you do care about the big picture point of view, as you can see here, the overall trend is well intact. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, you have a short-term one right there looking to be right around, let's see, what is that? 1790, and then the key overarching level, and nothing fancy behind this other than the fact of this is just simply where the party stopped today, right up there around $18.90. Next one, AMC, and not a good day. No need to beat around the bush, and especially during the last 30 minutes, you can see red candle here forming, and the significant part about this red candle is that it's actually breaking down through this area of support right here. So the big question mark now moving forward is this the start of a much bigger move to the downside? To be fair, it's not. Maybe this is one of those fake breakdowns where it looks like it's going to be weak, and then all of a sudden the bulls show up and snap back up. That is completely possible. But my point here is that is worth watching. It's an interesting situation, which is the whole point of a watch list. Find unique situations, find interesting situations, and then not just randomly rush out and do something, but watch them and see if they behave in a way that ultimately fits into your personal trading strategy. So if you're somebody that could potentially factor this into your strategy, then this is, I would argue, a very significant event. Not because it's red on the day, but because it's spending the last 30 minutes here, as you can see, breaking down below this area of support. So is this the start of something bigger to the downside? We'll have to see how the next couple of days play out. Next one, EFOI. Very interesting chart here. Overall, strong move. I mean, you stop to think about it. Started off down here below $1, and now it's worked its way up. Yes, there's been a pullback here, but within this pullback, so let me just get this drawn out. There is an actually overall nice pattern because, once again, you had this big momentum move here. So from a pattern perspective, this would be known as a bull flag pattern. So if you like to play bull flags, if you like to play this pattern, and in particular stocks down below, the $5 range, this is definitely one to keep an eye on. But yes, as I speak, you can see this last 30 minutes continues to drop lower and lower and lower, but it's basically entering right into the lower part of this trend line here of the pattern. So it becomes a valid question of, okay, maybe this thing is about to bounce back up and at least retest the top of that pattern. If not, maybe even break up through it. So like I said, if you like to play bull flags, if you like to play pullbacks in this price range, here you go. Next one, AVYA. And let me be very clear. When I draw this next line, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that this is some sort of special skill or secret discovery. The exact opposite. I assure you, a lot of people around the world are going to be drawing this line. And I say that because when a lot of people are watching the same level, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can certainly produce some very big and dynamic movements. So the line here that I assure you a lot of people have drawn is that line right there. Now, does that guarantee anything? Once again, of course not. But does it make it plausible? Does it make it valid to think that if the price can come up to that trend line and then push up through it, that break right there could create additional upside buying pressure? That is absolutely a valid thought to have. So keep your eye right up around the, we'll call it 450 mark. In terms of areas of support, key level where you can see the price seem to have bottomed out here with several buyers down around the $4.10 mark. You can see lots of times right there. The bears try to press down and failed every time. But in my opinion, at least, the most impressive dynamic here and most interesting dynamic is going to be that trend line. So let's see if the price can push up through it. Next one here, ENDP, penny stock for you penny stock players out there. But I mean, talk about it, just a beautiful trend. I mean, if you're looking to write a textbook and looking for an example in the uptrend chapter about what does an uptrend look like, I mean, look at these stair steps. Truly just a thing of beauty from the trend perspective. And then going back and why I put in the watch list where I did, going back to that whole discussion of self-fulfilling prophecies, I assure you a lot of people are watching that trend line right there and wondering, okay, can this trend get continuation? Continuation being defined as pushing up through that trend line. Nobody knows that because nobody can see into the future. But what we can see is that this thing is in an uptrend. It continues putting higher highs and higher lows. So if you are somebody who likes to play trend trading and particular breakouts within overall uptrends, and of course you like to play stocks down below $1, then this one I would argue certainly at least belongs on your watch list in some shape or another. Next one, AMD, and yes, putting all these very strategically because they're all following the same principle. But look at that trend line, and once again, I'm not trying to impress you. That's not a great discovery. A lot of people have noticed that trend line, which got just that much more confirmation late day today, where once again, the price got rejected from that area. So going back to the talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies, no guarantees, but is it valid? Is it rational to think that if the price can finally actually get up through that trend line, that a lot of people may be watching that to play a breakout? That is certainly a valid thought process to have. So keep a close eye on that from a resistance standpoint. And then as far as supports are concerned, main level that stands out to me right down there around 99.50. But once again, the most intriguing dynamic in my opinion is going to be that resistance trend line. Next one here, HSDT. And I like this because once again, some very well-defined levels, mainly from the support side of things. I mean, you have an area right here at $1.90 where you can see not once, but twice, including the final 30 minutes there, the price bounced right off that level. But even if you want to get a little bit more, conservative with the pullback, you have a very well-defined level via that pink line there, the 200-period moving average down at $1.63. So for you pullback players out there, these are definitely a couple of interesting levels that you could potentially factor into your personal strategy. In terms of resistance levels, and yeah, I think a lot of people will be watching this. I'm not going to call it a massive self-fulfilling prophecy point, but that is a very clear level where this afternoon the price tried to bounce and then got rejected back down. So it goes to, say that, and it makes it rational that if the price can actually recover back up to that area and get a push up through it, then that, definitely presents a potential interesting breakout area. But overall, some well-defined levels and mainly from the pullback standpoint. But yeah, if there is some sort of recovery, then who knows, maybe this thing could turn into some sort of breakout play once again. Next one, TSLA Tesla. and let's map out the level. And now I try to trade Tesla every day, traded it multiple times today. So this is me more so just talking to myself, and you get to be a fly on the wall. And if you agree with my analysis or the levels that I'll personally be watching, great. If not, hey, that's okay. And then we don't have to agree on everything. But the level here that stands out to me initially is going to be that overall resistance trend line right there, which puts the key breakout point up around, let's call it 765, give or take. So that, in my mind, is a very interesting level. But more so in the short term, the level that revealed itself quite a bit was right there at that area, which sits around the 750, 751-ish area. So those would be my two main areas of resistance that I'll keep a close eye on. As far as areas of support are concerned, first key level going to be down here at the 733 mark. You can see this was the low from a couple days ago. And then once again, essentially the low right here, the price spent quite a bit of time. But if that level can't quite hold up, the next area I'd be very curious about is $720, which is that pink line, again, that 200 period moving average. So Tesla's certainly taking shape with some very well-defined levels. Got a bit choppy today, got a bit, kind of tight in this range here, but if you've ever traded Tesla, you know it can open up in a hurry. So it's worth at least always keeping an eye on, at least for my personal trading strategy. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class. Depending on when you're watching this, it'll be tomorrow, or who knows, if you're watching this on Thursday morning, it'll be later today. But it'll be Thursday, June 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as the live trade, as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you'd like for me to continue to make these videos, then do two things for me, please. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment, say hi, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things go a very long way in communicating to me that you enjoy these videos. And as long as I know people are enjoying, I will continue to put in the time and effort required to create this kind of content for you. So everybody take care, have a good one, and definitely get signed up for that free class. And hopefully I'll see you on Thursday.